welcome to a Backwards Live episode of This. 3 minutes brought to you 5 days a week on the subject of positivity. This might be backwards, but it just says Dis, Dom, Isolation Show. And this says Dis, Fridays, live. It's true. Things are live. How you guys doing? Hope everyone's okay. I am enjoying myself here. Hang on a second. Little minor malfunction with the phone. No, that's not true. I can see you all. Ignore me. Hello, Jason, friend. How's everyone doing? Listen. Got my mug. Everything's fine. Loving the love hearts. Everything's great. Oh, this is a tangerine tea that I'm drinking today. A tea to create energy and positivity. Something I'm full of. It's a Friday. That means we go live on Fridays. I'm going to try and have little surprises every Friday. Whether that be a mug, or maybe I show you guys a Lego thing that I'm working on, or maybe I wear a fun, funky shirt for you. Look at this. Now, I don't know a huge amount about... Ow! Oh, my knee. I don't know a huge amount about Pokemon, but I've been informed that this is a Pokemon shirt. Jumper. As that were. Thank you. I'm your favourite. Oh, that's so sweet. Now, listen. Give me a minute, because... I did say that I was going to create a little surprise for you guys. That's what I'm trying to do. But it's not working currently. And that's fine. Listen, we're just going to sit here and hang out. If you're a one-hit band, you can only... Hello! William, I can't hear you.
Why?
Oh, I can hear you now.
I can hear you.
Now, William, can I just slightly upset you?
Why?
You know I don't mean to. But here's the thing. When you go live on Instagram, the images are in reverse.
Yeah.
It's a mirror image. So I can't read, well, I actually can read that because I can read backwards quite well. So your sign, my sign says Dis, the Dom Isolation Show. Your sign.
Did you write that backwards?
No, this is forwards, but it flips because of this situation. See, this is forwards. See how you can't read mine because it's backwards?
Yeah.
I can't really read yours, but I think yours says, stay happy inside.
Indoors.
Say happy indoors. Thubba today. Stay. So if we were to abbreviate that, it's the shit show. You created a shit show.
I didn't notice that.
Mate, how's it going?
It's all right. It's all right.
I miss you.
I'm in my pajamas 24/7.
Give us a twirl. Come on.
No.
Why not? Has the crotch perished?
I've made a terrible mistake. I got the bleach out yesterday. I can never get the bleach out without having accidents. So I was bleaching some towels, and I thought I'll just throw some.
Wait, hang on a second. White towels. You're making towels whiter.
Yes.
Carry on.
And I thought I'll throw in these grey tracksuit pants because that will just bring them up a bit. It doesn't, Dom.
No.
It bleach marks them all over.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Now, Billy, I was thinking this morning when I woke up, this might be the longest that I've gone without seeing you since we've become friends. Because when was the last time I saw you? I think November, maybe.
It's tragic, isn't it? It's
Isn't
awful.
it though? Because tell everyone what you've been doing.
What, during the day?
No, why have we not seen each other? Oh my
Because
God.
there's a virus.
No! Well, yeah, now. But you went and did a tour for like
Oh yeah,
3 months.
I did a music tour with an orchestra and the wonderful Tolkien Ensemble, who are just wonderful musicians, and we toured mainly Germany, but other places in Europe. But then we had to cut it short because of this, and came home, and now we're dealing with all this.
So, I mean, when did you go away on that tour? That was pre-Christmas, right? It was like...
It was pretty much Christmas.
Right.
Pretty much Christmas.
So we've not seen each other for what, 3 or 4 months?
I know. And we were seeing each other a lot before that. There was a lot going on. There
was a lot.
We were getting ourselves organised to actually work together.
Organised.
As we always talk about.
Well, let's tell people. Should we tell people what we were doing and what we were just about to do when you got back and then the plans got scuppered?
You had a wonderful idea, as you always do,
William,
to make a podcast. And we actually got round to doing it. We went into a studio. We made a podcast.
We did it!
We casted. And but we only made one. And then as we were saying, things took us other ways. But we will make more.
We will make more. The first
what will we do with the one just now? Should we just let people hear it, or should we keep it safe? Keep it secret.
Keep it secret. Well, a part of me really wants to have people listen to it. My fear is that in whatever way we get it out there, it might not get out there in as big a way as we hope. So we could post a link down here to the podcast. But I mean, at the moment, what have we got? 822 people watching us. That's not enough. You know, I think you'd want to put it out on some sort of official thing. But we did record a podcast. It was what, an hour-ish? Something like that?
Yes, it's about an hour, yes.
We did some readings from my diary. We talked about the whole rehearsal process of Lord of the Rings. We talked about our friendship outside of it and living in LA. And it went really well. And then we were just about to do a second one after you got back. And then this thing happened. And we need to do it in person. We could do it remotely, but we need to do it in person, don't we, really?
We could do a live one. If people told us what to talk about, and then we could do something like this.
Well, there's some questions down here outside of people going, "Oh my God, it's two hobbits talking." Let's see. Can you see the same questions that I'm seeing? What are you reading there, Bills?
There's a happy face, and then a face with, and then something in Russian. Please come to Malmo. Are you getting that? Can't wait to do the podcast.
Outlander.
Lift it a bit. Lift what a bit?
Maybe they're saying lift your. Are they saying lift your image so that you can see you a little bit more? Or
well, can you not see me? I thought we were virtually matching shots.
I can see it. Someone just mentioned Outlander there, and someone told me online the other day that you're a little bit of a nefarious character in Outlander.
We shall wait and see, Dom. We shall wait and see.
Well, I'm very interested to see that, because up until now, I've known you as, you know, the good guy and the person to trust, but maybe you have different...
Well, I asked a young lady to marry me.
Oh!
Offered her jewellery, offered her a diamond, and she refused.
Why?
Well, I have no idea. I must ask the writers.
Are you not part of the landed gentry? Is that the issue?
No. I'm a lawyer, but not a very attractive one, which I found difficult to play.
Well, your witness, Your Honour, your witness. So we were chatting earlier on, and I was saying that that I think maybe I've been doing this show for a couple of weeks now about positivity and about how to, you know, deal with what's happening right now. And some of the times that I'm talking, a lot of the times I'm channeling some of the conversations that you and I have and some of the things that you've said to me over the years. Certainly the thing that I did yesterday about the fact that it's important to not feel too attached to the things that we're losing and the things that we're gaining, just to kind of be in the middle. That was very much influenced by you and some of the conversations that you have. And I think probably a lot of the people down here watching and listening would be interested to see how you've been dealing with all these changes and what's worked for you. So, William, the floor is yours.
Do you know what? I think because I've been away on tour and then I came back to this, it hasn't, other than the sort of, the way it doesn't quite feel real, other than that, dealing with it's been not too bad because we've been stuck at home. So I'm catching up with family, with my son and my wife, who I was away because I was away on tour. And then the days sort of just, you know, we play some music, I do some work, we do a workout, and then before you know it, it's evening. And as you were saying in your, I think yesterday or the day before, you get set up with what movie are we going to watch tonight or what TV show, and then the day sort of is finished. So, you know, unlike people who have a 9 to 5 and then that has stopped, I can totally understand how that would be totally, you know, mind-bending and oh my God. But as an artist who was on tour, this is pretty much what I would be doing at the end of a tour anyway. Catching up with paperwork, getting all the computer stuff done. So I'd be in the house doing that just now anyway.
Yeah.
And it just happens that my son's not at school, which is at this point lovely. Yeah. It's going to get difficult as we, you know, try to continue his education, but without the help of the, you know, going to school every day and seeing his friends.
Right.
So it's going to get more and more difficult.
Now you have to teach Jack, right?
Yeah, and the schools have been good, you know, keeping us informed and doing stuff online and things that you can do. But that's going to have to become more and more specific, you know.
Now, 2 points, Billy. First of all, a technical point. I'm seeing a lot of things in the feed right here that's saying, Billy, can you move your face over? Because the text is in front of your face. So could you move to this side of the screen, covering your...
That side?
Do you know what I mean? See all this? Yeah.
To that side?
Yeah, yeah. Could you move over? I'm sorry, William. Well, not that. That's better. I think that's a bit better. Let's see from the feed below. Now you've got love hearts on your face, but I think that's nicer than text.
Is that better?
Let's see if everyone thinks that's better. But that's the stuff that I was seeing.
Somebody said we were tech-savvy idiots.
Thank you, person over there. The other thing that I'm a little concerned about with obviously the fact that you have to educate your son now is you are quite stupid, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, at a base level.
Right. So the things that you're teaching your son are at that level. It's like a 3 out of 10. So he's hit a ceiling, and that's your brain.
Generally, and most of the stuff that I do is made up and not fact.
Could I suggest that maybe your wife takes on some of the education stuff and you do more of the fun stuff? You know, like how to stick sweets up your nose, playing guitar, you know, building an underwater helicopter, that kind of stuff. That seems to be more your wheelhouse.
Here's the stuff I was doing with my son yesterday, which I think is more my thing. We got a box out and we could see how high we could jump and then how high we could jump over something. So I think that was two very important.
Yeah.
And then we played music and we wrote a song.
Nice.
We're going to record today and I will send you.
I'd love to hear that. Does it have a title yet, or is it a working title?
It has no title at the moment, but we'll think of one.
I think, just to go back to what you said, I do think that you and I, and maybe actors in general, are a little equipped for this situation. I talked about this earlier on an episode of This, whereby when we work, we have structure, but when we don't work, our days are our own, and we have learned the skill of creating structure. So usually my day to day is, you know, obviously get up, get dressed, all that kind of stuff. Downstairs, meditation, do a workout, have my breakfast, work out what I'm going to watch later, and then go about my day, do some gardening, maybe do some Lego, checking on my plants, checking on my animals. And then when it turns from day to night, then I can get into some of the things that I'm going to watch. And if you do those things, if you put 3 or 4 things of structure in between your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that's kind of it, isn't it, really?
Yeah, the day sort of fills itself, doesn't it?
Can I tell you what I'm doing today? Because I think you'll really like this.
Go on.
Later on with the movie thing, I'm doing a little musical movie vibe today. So I'm starting, as it goes from day to night, kind of 5:36. I'm starting with one of my favorite films of all time. This is Spinal Tap, obviously a classic. And then this is something that is probably much more influenced by you than anyone else. After that, Billy, Purple Rain.
Go. Do you know, I thought about watching that the other day because Jack, my son, has just taken up guitar. He's a drummer, just started playing guitar. So I was thinking, who's my favourite guitarist? And strangely, it's probably Prince.
Yeah, I mean...
Even though he's thought of more as a performer, songwriter, he's an incredible guitarist.
Incredible!
And I was letting him hear some solos. The solo he does, he plays While My Guitar Gently Weeps, which if you've never heard them play that solo, with George Harrison's son and a lot of kind of famous...
That's the live one, right? Where he throws the guitar in the air and it doesn't come down.
It disappears!
What happened? It's magic.
He made the guitar disappear.
Magic. I mean, obviously, you know, people like Hendrix and Clapton, amazing, and I'm missing out a lot of incredible guitarists. But that haunting, truly haunting melody in Purple Rain, that oh my God, that sits in my brain almost all the time, you know.
He was amazing.
Oh, he's amazing. And I think in the time that I've known you, in the time that we've been friends, I think probably the famous person's death that seemed to have affected you the most was Prince's. I remember when it happened, you were shell-shocked for a while. And then in the anniversary of his death or his birth, you very often put up stuff on Instagram. So it clearly still affects you.
When I met him, that was the only time I think I've ever been totally sort of shocked at meeting someone.
Yeah, like, what about me, though?
Well, when I first met you, but now I've got to know you, I'm kind of, you know.
Yeah. Tell us, stroke them, stroke me, the story of when you met, because it is a great story.
I'm not going to do the whole story today.
Oh, come on! All right, fine.
We'll keep that for the podcast.
Okay.
But when he died, it had the feeling of like this virus thing, that I just my head just can't take it in that it's real, that we're all self-isolating, that there's this thing, the hospitals are overrun. It just all seems, you know, and sometimes I'll get a wave of that in normal life. Do you know where I sometimes get a wave of that? Is the underground system in London. It is so complex.
The tube.
The tube, we'll call it. It's so complex that I don't believe it exists.
Do you know? I didn't know this. It's the oldest underground system in the world. I didn't know that.
See? So who built that?
I think it was it mice or rats that built it, and then we just put trains through it, I think.
And you're on the Bakerloo, you get off and you go on Central, and that takes you really way back then.
Yeah, it's
guys with picks and a shovel.
And the Second World War, everyone's down there camping out and stuff like that. That seems crazy. Do you know the station that freaks me out the most? Bank. Bank is the station that has the most amount of lines crossing it. So when you stood at Bank, you can go in almost any direction in London. that fries my brain. It fries my brain.
All different levels.
Well, there are 7 levels, aren't there?
What, to hell?
No, this is a Paul McCartney story. When he took LSD one time, which we're not recommending to anyone, but it is a story about LSD. He took LSD at a party, and he ran over to Mal Evans, who's kind of their roadie, helper, assistant guy, and he said, Mal, have you got a pen? Have you got a pen and a piece of paper? And he said, yeah. And he wrote this thing down. And he said, put that in your pocket. Don't read it. Give it me tomorrow. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. And the next day, when Mal came over and said, hey, Paul, you told me to give you this and not read it. And he opened up and it said, there are 7 levels. I know.
Did he explain?
No, that was it.
That was it.
That's the end of the story. That's the end of the story.
And you took from that he was talking about the London Underground?
Yeah.
Well done.
So.
Well done, sir.
As far as I know. So we talked about the practical. Oh, is that you? Oh, you got an apple? Oh, it's me. Where'd you get that from? Where'd you get that from?
When I don't have you around, I play with this guy.
I like playing with myself. Scratch that. Scratch it. Where'd you get it, though? That's a great one. I've never seen you with an apple post. Did someone accidentally send it you thinking it was you because everyone confuses you for me?
No, I think it's a new one from Weta.
Oh, mate, I'm going to have to get that. I've never seen me eating an apple. I tried to get as many apples into the Lord of the Rings trilogy as possible. I think I got 2 or 3 in there.
It's great, isn't it?
As you know, I'm a huge apple fan. I get, on this diss thing that I do, when people leave comments, I would say probably 10 comments say fool of a took. And I want to go, nah, that was the other one. That was him. Am I above you? Could you do that?
You're above me. Am I below you?
Yeah, you're below me.
The way it should be. It's the way it should be, Tom.
Pointing right down here. So look, let's just rewind a little bit about what we talked about, because I think people are keen to hear about some of the things that we've learned that help us out. Structure seems to be one. Is there anything else that you think is a skill that's helping you right now, or something that's getting you through your days? Or
do you know one thing that I think people shouldn't worry about is people shouldn't get too caught up with, I have to use this time to learn the piano or learn to speak Spanish, because I think you can get uptight about, I can't let this time go to waste. Whereas maybe it's a good time just to kind of, and just well, what's wrong with just having a couple hours of being bored and just let your body sort of, because there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
If you happen to be the type of person who's going to use this time to learn the piano or learn Spanish, then great. But I don't think, because I think most people who go online and advise people what to do will be a certain type of person, will be a sort of, I'm using this time to do a podcast, to do a thing. So they will be the sort of person who will learn piano. But, for some people, maybe it's a good time. I mean, obviously it's an awful time if you're working in a bar or a restaurant and you don't know what's happening. Hopefully our governments will get on top of that and help people out, real people. But in a bigger picture, maybe it's a good time just to kind of, just take a breath and, use that time just to be bored.
Yeah. I one of the first things that I did on this show was to talk about the fact that everyone's having their own individual experience with this. Mm-hmm. So someone might be living in China, they have 2 parents who are very sick, and they're having just an awful time. Meanwhile, you've got someone living in Peru and the virus hasn't hit them, and they think, what's the big deal? And the person in China's story is as relevant as the person in Peru's story. And it's worthwhile to just be sensitive to everyone's story right now. If someone thinks that, like you said, if someone thinks this is great. I get to spend 3 weeks off work with my wife or my husband, and we get to watch movies and hang out with our cats. That is a significant story for them. And then you might have some people who are desperate to get to see their parents and they can't leave because, you know, they're on lockdown. So just to be sensitive to everyone's journey right now is key, you know.
Yeah. And don't get caught up in a kind of world energy and an energy of fear, and just like, you know, just kind of take a breath and, you know, what's best for me just now, I think.
Yeah, I read this thing today which really hit me in the feels, as the kids say, and I think it is a good point to make, which is obviously the virus is contagious, but so are things like anxiety and fear and paranoia, and that's a thing that can affect our mental health, which obviously dictates our physical health. So I think staying positive, if you are fit and well, you have to be that voice that says, yes, this is a challenging time, but we're all in it together and we'll get through it. And one of the ways that we'll get through it is being positive in this time, you know.
Yeah, it's a weird time.
I think, you know, it's interesting, Bills, because there was a time probably 3 years ago now where you were very much news oriented. And when this happened, I thought, well, the Billy that I knew a few years ago was going to be hooked to the news channels and watching it. And when I checked in with you, you were like, you know, obviously I know what's going on, but I'm not feeding into that thing. So you made a very definite decision way before this to kind of back away from this maelstrom of news feed, right?
Definitely a conscious choice not to just keep that in a loop on the TV, and also from my wife, who tells me not to watch the news as much, which I think
and your hobbit wife
and my hobbit wife.
Do you remember when you were living with me?
Yeah.
Billy came and stayed with me for a few weeks, and I was coming downstairs because Billy usually gets an hour or so before me, and the news was on, and I was like, "Oh, Bills, it's the same news all the time." And you were like, "Yeah, it is, but you know, it's important and stuff." And I was like, "Oh." But you got your way through that, you know, which is great.
You know, because it's part of our, as a society thing, that we somehow in the past, you know, it used to be when we were growing up, the news came on, you know, at 5 o'clock, and then it came back on at 9 or 10. Now it's 24 hours. And these, you know, like everyone in these corporations, they have to make money. And how does a news channel make money? It makes things sensational. It makes people want to watch news flash, breaking news, and you know, you get drawn into it. You're like, oh, breaking news, yeah. So I think you're right. I put it on once a day just to catch up on actual numbers and data, and then I put it off and watch something more fun.
Can I ask you about your sign?
Yeah.
Did your wife make it?
Why? Because I'm not very artistic. Because I'm not artistic.
No, because I wanted to throw a little bit of love towards your wife. Because doesn't your wife have an Instagram page full of her artwork, some of which I want?
We are going to get you one.
Well, I'll tell you.
Yes, my wife does have. She has an art page based kind of mainly on Scottish words and sayings. Since she's been living in America, she likes it, and I think it's really fun as well, because as a Scottish person, we'll accidentally say something Scottish at a restaurant or somewhere, and then it makes us laugh. So she has a page called Gallus Life, because Gallus is a great word in Scotland. It mainly means kind of like someone with a swagger, you know, kind of overconfident. Oh, he's Gallus, she's Gallus. But also, if you eat something really good, you could say, oh, that was Gallus.
Oh, nice.
You know, so there's all sorts of ways of using it. So she has a page called Gallus Life, and
spell Gallus so that people
Gallus,
GALLUS
.life.
It's a great page, and what I love about that page is when I saw Al probably 3 or 4 months ago, she said that, you know, every so often she goes upstairs and she sits down and she spends a couple of hours doing some art, and she told me to follow her on her Instagram page. And the evolution of that page, Bill, has been brilliant. It's gone from what seemed to be Ali kind of doing her own thing, keeping herself busy and having some fun with art, to now getting to a point where it's got its own identity, it's strong, and so, some of the things that she's drawn, I'm like, I want that. And just like Gallus across a t-shirt, that is so cool, man.
Great, isn't it? I love it. I love it.
So give us an example of someone, maybe a sports star or an actor or an actress or someone in the media that you would describe as full-on Gallus.
Gallus would be, in soccer, Messi's Gallus.
Yeah, he is.
Just got it down. You know what I mean? Everything he does is sort of Gallus.
Yeah.
You're pretty Gallus.
Billy, that's a fantastic compliment.
I'll get you a Gallus t-shirt.
I'd love that. That'd be great. Get that thing going. So it seems on this feed at the moment that a lot of people are saying they're watching Lord of the Rings, and I've said a few times that maybe in a time like this, a massive movie epic that has some of the teachings of, you know, we're going to get through this together. One person can make a huge difference, doing the right thing, you know, keeping the faith with things like hope and fellowship is a great thing to do. So maybe if you've got time on your hands, which we seem to all have more time than normal, maybe sitting down and watching Lord of the Rings is a great idea.
I haven't seen it, I don't think, since we did the premieres. I haven't watched it right through.
Wow, really?
And my son hasn't really watched them all. Certainly not all the way through, you know, start to finish. It might have been on in his aunt's house and they watched some of it when he was younger. So I think it'd be a good idea. As I said, I've just been working with the Tolkien Ensemble, these musicians, that their music is all based on Tolkien. And the sort of lead guy there, Caspar, sat with his son and watched it, he said, for the first time for years. And he was amazed at how well it stood up to time, you know, and that's someone who loves Tolkien and loves Tolkien's work. And it's lovely to hear from him that he's such a fan of the movies as well, you know, because he was, you know, writing songs about, you know, the poems and songs in Tolkien since way before the movies, you know.
The books are incredible, and if you've not read the books, well worth reading. It's one of the greatest experiences of my life. And in the books and in the movies, one of the things that I think they did so well was to create such authentic connections between everyone. Obviously, the four hobbits know each other, and when they leave on this quest together, there's a bond. But that bond between Legolas and Gimli is so strong so quickly, and the bond between, you know, Gandalf and the four hobbits and the protective element of Aragorn, so that when everyone's in any sense of danger, that severing of the fellowship is felt not only at the end of the first movie, but throughout Two Towers and Return of the King. Me watching it as an audience member who was even in the movies, you constantly thinking, oh, I want to see them back together again. I hope they get a chance to see each other again. It's a beautiful story.
Yeah. And someone just said they just watched it with commentary. I've never done that. Have you listened to that?
No, I remember obviously doing commentary with you and having a great time. I mean, you and I never really talked about the vibe going in, but I think what was great about what you and I did was, I think we were both aware that there were so many different people that were going to take the commentary quite seriously, as you would. And we wanted to maybe be the voice of just having fun and enjoying ourselves. And so many people say that they watch the commentary with us just because it's basically Merry and Pippin goofing off watching the film, you know, watching the story of their life.
Yeah. No, so I'd like to do that at some point, because I suppose at that time we were still so involved with Merry and Pippin that it would have been unusual and weird if we hadn't taken a fun approach to it. Because that's who Merry and Pippin are.
That's who Merry and Pippin represented in the Fellowship. And also that's why it's so sad that when, to a certain extent, they lose their sense of humour because they've lost each other, it's so much more felt by the audience and by those characters, you know. If you guys have any questions, you should ask us here, because maybe we'll start answering it.
you were asking me how I'm getting through all this, and one of the things is cooking. You know, having time to cook is actually really nice if you can find anything in the stores. But so I'm actually going to go and cook breakfast pretty soon.
What's for breakfast?
Potato scones.
A Scottish delicacy, no less.
I made the mashed potatoes last night.
What, you actually made a potato?
So you have to make mashed potatoes, lots of butter.
Always.
But good butter.
Oh, yeah.
And then, now, I add flour, roll it out, cut into triangles, fry them up with an egg. Oh.
Oh. Can I make a hobbity suggestion? I don't know if it goes with the potato scone, but can I make a hobbity suggestion?
Go.
Mushrooms. Mushrooms! Yeah, might be nice.
I don't have any mushrooms. I need to go out, and I don't want to go out.
You should eat as many mushrooms as you can, because it turns you into a fun guy to be with.
Hey!
I was just thinking on the podcast, at some point, excuse me, not Corona, what we could do is, you and I could do something like this, a setup like this, doing the podcast, watching Lord of the Rings,
right?
And we could basically, the people could be watching us, watching Lord of the Rings, and maybe they could press play on their Lord of the Rings thing at the same time, and you could see us doing a live split screen commentary about Lord of the Rings. That would be fun, right?
I'll do it.
Well, should we go, since you have to make Lord of the Rings, since you have to make potato pancakes for your...
I think so, but we could do it again.
We'll do it again. Maybe we'll
answer
do it.
A question. See if a question comes up. Answer it.
Next
go.
question. Go on, Billy. You answer.
Yes, please. Yes.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Okay. All right. We will do that. We will do that. Okay. Someone ask us a question.
Maybe there's a delay.
I think there is. Go for it, boys.
How long is the delay on Instagram?
Well, how long is a piece of string?
Well, here we go. Favorite Lord of the Rings film? I really like Return of the King.
I'm going to go Fellowship of the Ring, I think.
Nice. Nice. Can we leave it at that? Who's a better cook?
Well, I used to be a chef, didn't I?
You used to be a chef, and we used to have barbecues at my place in New Zealand, and Dom would come and make a ratatouille that was breathtaking.
Bellissimo. I think in one of the great partnership relationships that goes on, we have our own certain skill set. I think you're better at cooking fish than I am. So whenever there's a fish thing, you tend to do it. You have the things that you do well, and I leave you to it. And I think
you're good at throwing things together as well, I think, without a plan.
I don't have fear in a kitchen. So when I walk into a kitchen, I just go, right, well, we don't have a lot to deal with, so we'll just put something together. That's the thing, is like, don't be intimidated by the kitchen. Open up your cupboards and go, right, we don't have the best ingredients, but we'll work something out, you know?
We'll make something.
Yeah.
Somebody said, do a cookery program called Making Second Breakfast. Let's do it.
That is fantastic. All right, well, should we leave it at that?
Let's leave it.
Love and kisses, not only to people
like,
oh, William!
I've been catching up on my favourite shows.
Are you talking about The West Wing?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Now it's backwards, but I think everyone gets the idea. Billy, I miss you.
This was great fun. I'll see you soon, I hope, Dom.
Lots of love to everyone. Bye.
Love to you. Love to everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I don't know how to switch it off.
End it.